Coming up on News Live at 6, grad employees making their voices heard. We'll tell you what they're fighting for.
Hendricks Chapel is that place where we create a sense of belonging for students.
And Interfaith Exploration Week has come to an end. We will discuss how students were able to explore various religious events.
The State of the Union is strong.
And last night, President Biden delivering his State of the Union address. Citrus TV's Luke Radel will have all the highlights. News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Coming up on Talking Points, President Trump is now the first former president to be charged in a criminal investigation. We'll have the latest on the indictment and the anticipated Trump surrender.
Plus, protests erupting in Nashville and around Tennessee as citizens fight for tighter gun restrictions, what lawmakers are doing to address gun control.
And concerns about railroad safety are happening once again after another train derailment last week. All that and more. Talking Points starts right now.
Coming up on News Live at 6, cases of violence are rising throughout the country and here in Syracuse.
And what bill a New York senator is backing, the immediate reactions and criticisms.
And we're live with Brandon Williams' new opponent, Sarah Clay Hood's exclusive interview, coming up on News Live at 6.
Coming up on Talking Points, lawmakers expelled from the Tennessee legislature. We will have more on why they were removed and what it can mean for the state's government.
Plus, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is facing criticism from members of Congress. We'll break down his bribery scandal and the potential implications for the Supreme Court.
And many states across the country have passed legislation banning gender-affirming health care for transgender youth. That story and more. Talking Points starts right now.
Coming up on News Live at 6, major news for the Syracuse basketball program has just broke. We'll tell you the status of Jim Boeheim.
Coming up on News Live at 6, Syracuse University has announced 2 new deans who will be leading colleges on campus. We'll have what you need to know.
International Women's Day. I'll have more on how SU is celebrating. News Live at 6 starts right now.
Now, Citrus TV News Live at 6 starts with breaking news.
Good evening and welcome into News Live at 6. I'm Bradley Hoppenstein.
And I'm Tyler O'Neill. We begin tonight with breaking news. Longtime Syracuse men's basketball coach and Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim is no longer the head coach. Former SU player and associate head coach Adrian Autry will be taking over the position.
Our Jacob Morris is in Greensboro for the ACC tournament and was at SU's game today. Jacob, you were there when Boeheim alluded to his retirement after the game. Now it's official less than 3 hours later. What was the atmosphere in Greensboro today? And what was the reaction over there?
Really unbelievable. Trey Redfield and I will have more for you in sports in a little bit. Really an incredible scene here in Greensboro. Back to you guys.
Jacob, thank you, and a lot of news to cover today. We also have our sports anchor, Trey Redfield, joining us. He's here to discuss what this means for the basketball community, what this means for SU's team moving forward. Trey.
It's the end of an era, to simply put it. 47 years of Jim Boeheim leading the way for the Orange, all complete after the bench boss announced his retirement.
Good evening and welcome into this week's episode of Talking Points. I'm Benjamin Schiller.
And I'm Erica Love. Let's start off downstate. New York's 3rd Congressional District has not had representation since December 1st, when Congressman George Santos was expelled. The election to replace him is happening tomorrow.
And the race's 2 candidates are Republican Mazi Pilip and Democrat Tom Swazi. Talking Points analyst Peter Barry and Talking Points anchor Chillicothe Adeli have that report from Long Island.
Good evening, Erica and Ben. Chillicothe Adeli alongside Talking Points analyst Peter Barry here on Long Island as we get ready for this special election. New York's 3rd Congressional District, Democrat Tom Swazi, Republican Mazi Pilip facing off tomorrow for the seat vacated by former Congressman George Santos. Erica and Ben, back to you.
Chillicothe Adeli and Peter Barry on the ground for us in Long Island. Let's go from Long Island to the White House. President Biden is now the latest politician to join the rapid growing social media platform TikTok. The administration posted its first video late Sunday night after the Super Bowl. The 25-second video shows the current president answering questions about which team he was rooting for. The post is an attempt for Biden to gain younger voters ahead of the 2024 presidential election. However, the video is facing criticism as the administration has repeatedly noted concerns of Chinese involvement on the app.
And Donald Trump is under fire this week after a comment he made at a rally in South Carolina. The former president said that NATO countries who do not meet the defense spending minimums would not be helped by the U.S. in a Russian invasion. Trump was quoted saying, quote, "No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever they want," end quote. The White House has responded to the comments saying that, quote, "Encouraging invasions of our closest allies by murderous regimes is appalling and unhinged. It endangers American national security, global stability, and our economy at home," end quote.
And staying in the White House, President Biden is in question for willingly retaining classified information while also having concerns about his age and mental acuity. With more in the documents report and the controversy surrounding its contents is Talking Points analyst Harrison Calder. Harrison, good evening. Let's talk about that report. Special Counsel Robert Hur's report cleared Biden from any potential charges following his presidency, but he did have some damning comments on Biden's age and mental retention. Let's actually dive into that report, Harrison.
So, Van, back to you.
Well, this is the storyline that we'll be following for the next couple of weeks. Harrison Calder, thank you. A new GOP representative announced on Friday that he'll be entering the Senate race, setting up a heated primary in Montana. This and more in 90 seconds.
Coming up on Talking Points, under arrest. The leaker of Pentagon documents is apprehended by the FBI. How they claim the suspect spread national security secrets through an online gaming server, and what the government is doing to prevent it from happening again.
Plus, some House Republicans are proposing cuts to food assistance benefits. What two of their members who used those programs growing up have to say about that.
And the former president takes on his former attorney. Why Donald Trump is suing a key witness in the case that got him indicted. All that and more. Talking Point starts right now.
The Biden administration scrambling to assess the damage of a massive classified information leak from the Pentagon last month. Hey, welcome into Talking Points. I'm Chillicassia Dele.
And I'm Tegan Brown. Federal agents arrested Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira on Thursday and charged him with leaking the classified information. Talking Points analyst Jake Morrell is in studio with that reaction. Jake?
Tegan and Chile, good evening. Several U.S. officials have said they're having closed-door conversations with foreign governments to try and ease the tensions created by these leaks. But before we get into that, let's take a step back and see how this even happened. So, a couple key differences there.
Jake, thank you. And we have breaking news just into the newsroom this hour. Syracuse Congressman Brandon Williams has just passed his first piece of legislation with the unanimous support of the entire House of Representatives. He sponsored a resolution condemning the downing of a U.S. Air Force drone by Russian pilots.
In the past, Williams has called Vladimir Putin a monster. And as a former nuclear Navy veteran who went on 6 deterrent submarine missions, Williams says he introduced the bill because he understands how important it is to deter our enemies.
Let's go down south, and we'll continue to monitor this story as it develops. But back here at home, Florida has become the latest state to limit when a woman can get an abortion. It's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, signed a bill into law making most abortions illegal after 6 weeks. Harrison Calder joins us now to break this all down. And Harrison, I think a lot of people want to know what specifically in this bill and how are people reacting to it.
Good evening, guys. There's a lot specifically in this bill. It was signed quietly by Ron DeSantis on Thursday night, and that's for 2 reasons. Likely because there's a good chance that he wants to stay away from the media. There's also potential that both political parties are very much not in favor of this.
Harrison Calder, thank you so much. And in other 2024 news, Senator Tim Scott has launched a presidential exploratory committee. Here's some of his announcement video.
If the radical left gets their way, millions more families will be trapped in failing schools, crime-ridden neighborhoods, and crushing inflation. Not on my watch.
Well, if and when Senator Scott decides to run, he'll be the second South Carolinian in the race after the state's former governor, Nikki Haley, launched her bid in February.